Hello, Robert Bastian here of Laryngopedia and Bastian Voice Institute. I want to review briefly with you the difference between a glottic furrow and a glottic sulcus. They are often confused with each other, and I've seen in the literature each term used in ways that actually should be applied to the other. And so let's go straight to the PowerPoint. A glottic furrow is like a furrow in a farmer's field. It's a depression, and you'll see it right here. It's often a defect in the vocal ligament also, and most often a congenital kind of thing in a long-term raspy, husky voice. By contrast, a glottic sulcus is like a slit you see right here. Unless you are aware of the entity of glottic sulcus, you may even overlook this, even intraoperatively. And it's like a slit, and if you open the lips, you'll see there's a pocket underneath, and it's usually an acquired problem in a person who's been a vocal overdoer and developed a vocal cyst, an epidermoid cyst in particular. The contents of the cyst empty out and leave behind this pocket. Now, let's go for deeper understanding to the vocal cord microarchitecture. Here's a cross-section of a vocal cord, and we see the muscle. I'm outlining right here this whole central area as muscle. The dark area is the collagen and elastin of the vocal ligament, and then the white line is distinguishing between the edge of the vocal ligament and the mucosa. And I should have used a curved white line here, but you get the idea. And that surface tissue is what can stretch and can vibrate. The ligament and the muscle don't really vibrate, but the surface tissue does, the mucosa. And here I'm showing how deformable it is. So using the child's paddle ball toy as an analogy, the paddle ball doesn't move very much when you bounce the ball. And in similar fashion, the mucosa, the ligament and the muscle don't really vibrate much. But the red rubber ball is the epithelium, and I've shown it right here. And it is what is vibrating, moving back and forth because of the stretchability of the mucosa. And so we think of that as that red rubber of the rubber band here. Cross-sectional representation here is normal. We see the muscle, the ligament, and then the epithelium, the mucosa, that is stretchable. And then the furrow, we see the epithelium is almost adherent to the vocal ligament. We've lost the rubber band layer here. And in the sulcus, we keep some of the rubber band depending on how thick the mucosa is. Remember, this is most often an overuse phenomenon, most often, and so oftentimes the vocal ligament, the mucosa is thickened. You see a rounded swelling and not just the slit, and that would be make it more likely. So glottic sulcus, can we operate? Well, it depends. This is a good prognosis one right here, because we have a very thickened mucosa, and so we've got lots of ranky space right here to work with. This is a little more guarded prognosis because we have a still fairly thin mucosa. We don't have a lot of rounded swelling at the margin, and so the deeper layer of the pocket is pretty close to the vocal ligament, and that makes the rubber band, the elastic band is shorter, and it's not quite as good a prognosis. But here we have a good prognosis sulcus. This is a person who, and I didn't show you before infiltrating the liquid here for hydrodissection. Here you see the lips of the sulcus, the slit right here, and again can be easily overlooked if you're not aware of what a glottic sulcus is. And here I am removing it, and you'll see the opening of the sulcus is actually the very thin red line right here. That's the opening into the sulcus. And then this white dotted line removing the entire sulcus pocket. And here it is after removal, and you see we still have lots of stretchable mucosa. And after surgery, this is a week or two later, you can see that here's the line of the incision where I was removing the sulcus, and the margin is not concave. It is still a fairly straight margin, and this person got quite a good result from this surgery. What about glottic furrow surgery? Well, maybe if you have an intact vocal ligament here, you can actually make an entry, elevate the mucosa, and try to redrape it. And I've even used some materials in the Reinke space, gelatinous material, to try to keep that epithelium from sticking back to the vocal ligament. And I've had some limited success in this kind of a scenario. Here, not so much, because we have not just very adherent epithelium, but it's to a vocal ligament that is abnormal. Do you see how we've lost some of the vocal ligament here? And in my experience, this is not a very good prognosis for trying to restore mucosal vibration ability. So there you have it, the basic difference between glottic furrow and glottic sulcus. They are not the same thing, even though I've seen the terms used interchangeably. They should not be, because they're quite different entities. So thank you very much for listening.